ISAC 2022 with the theme Advanced Chemistry Breakthrough for a Better Future. On behalf of the organizer, we wish you to extend our warm welcome and thank you to all invited speakers, all moderators, and all distinguished participants to the hybrid conference of the International Symposium on Applied Chemistry, ISAC 2022. The symposium is held on November 22nd until 23rd, 2022. And the workshop of GCMS and subreception analysis technique will be held on November 24, 2022. The symposium was organized by Research Center for Chemistry, National Research and Innovation Agency of Indonesia, BRIN. Ladies and gentlemen, and all distinguished participants, for your information, this conference tried to bring up ideas about advanced chemistry for a better future, with the topic of include interests, analytical chemistry, catalysis and catalysis, Chemurgy, process design and chemical engineering, Hyperbranched and macromolecular chemistry, organic and natural product chemistry, and surface chemistry and nanoparticles. There are 114 participants that present in parallel session, of which 44 will present their scientific articles on site, and while 70 participants will present online. The article of this conference have been reviewed and will be published in the AIP Scopus Index. For this symposium, we have 5 invited speakers from within and outside the country. First, Professor Dr. Okimuraza, Senior Vice President, Research and Technology Innovation, Pertamina, Indonesia. Second, Professor Eiichi Kondo from University of Yamanashi, Japan. Third, Mrs. Siti Nurul Aisyah Jenny, PhD, a researcher from Research Center Chemistry, National Research and Innovation Agency of Indonesia, BRIN. Fourth, Professor Dr. Heri Hermansyah from University of Indonesia. Fifth, Professor Meng Jiwang from National Taiwan University, Science and Technology, Taiwan. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, this symposium is held in hybrid manners. Some of the keynote speakers and participants attended in person on-site at Geraha Widya Bakti Building, KST, BJ Habibie, Serpong, South Tangerang, Banten. This symposium also live from Zoom meeting room and official YouTube channel of BRIN Indonesia. All of the organizing committee working with the enthusiasm to prepare the symposium. In the part of us, we hope the symposium can running smoothly, and all the participants could gain any knowledge and making a new collaboration. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please be prepared for the first agenda. National Anthem, Indonesia Raya. All attendees are kindly requested to stand up. are welcome to sit. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we will start the International Symposium with warm welcome speech from the conference chairman, Mr. Sudiarmanto, PhD. Mr. Sudiarmanto, PhD, the time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone, and we wish all of us in good health. Welcome to the 8th International Symposium on Applied Chemistry 2022. Honorable Dr. Laksana Trihandoko, Chair of the National Research and Innovation Agency, Honorable Professor Dr. Ratno Nuryadi, as the Chairman of Research Organization for Nanotechnology and Materials, National Research and Innovation Agency, Honorable Dr. Yani Meliana, the Head of Research Center for Chemistry, National Research and Innovation Agency, and all presenters and participants of ISAC 2022. Distinguished delegates, speakers, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the organizing committee and on my own behalf, I warmly welcome all distinguished speakers and participants to symposium which organized by Research Center for Chemistry, National Research and Innovation Agency. This is the 8th International Symposium on Applied Chemistry with the theme Advanced Chemistry Breakthrough for a Better Future. Our symposium is held through two methods. We call name as a hybrid conference. One on-site at KST B.J. Habibie Serpong and another one via online Zoom meeting or BRIN YouTube channel. So in this opportunity, I would also like to create an all participants via online. We are very grateful with the full support given by National Research and Innovation Agency and all partners involved in this symposium. On behalf of the committee, I would like to express my deepest gratitude. We are really honored to organize this conference as 115 registered participants and 5 keynote speakers from across the world are participating in this event. The keynote speaker of the 8th ISAC 2022 are Professor Eiichi Kondo from University of Yamanashi, Japan, Professor Meng Jiwang from National Taiwan University Science and Technology Taiwan, Professor Oki Murasa from Pertamina Indonesia, Professor Heri Hermansyah from University of Indonesia, and the last one, Siti Nur Aisyah Jaini, PhD from Research Center for Chemistry, the National Research and Innovation Agency. During today's conference, there will be presented about 112 abstracts covering all aspects of applied chemistry, and the topic of interest of 7 topics in ISAC meeting. We are also honored as all accepted peer review papers will be considered for publication in IIP conference proceeding indexed by Scopus. I wish that all of you will have a fruitful and rewarding deliberation at the 8th International Symposium on Applied Chemistry 2022. In this opportunity, I also like to thank all the committee and partners of today's symposium for all the work dedicated until today. Finally, I sincerely hope that all participants will have an interesting and productive meeting, and apologize for any inconvenience during the interaction of our assistants. Have a great time, and we wish all of us in the best in health. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much as a welcoming speech from Mr. Sudiarmanto, PhD. Ladies and gentlemen, now we may call Dr. Yeni Meliana, Master of Science, the head of Research Center for Chemistry, National Research and Innovation Agency of Indonesia, BRIN, to deliver the welcoming speech. Dr. Yeni Meliana, the time is yours.
Izin Prof. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning to one and all present. Respected to Dr. Laksana Trihandoko, Head of National Research and Innovation Agency, Professor Dr. Ratno Nuryadi M.Eng, Chair of Research Organization for Nanotechnology and Material. Welcome, Prof. Honorable Speaker, Professor Eichi Kondo, Dr. Siti Nurul Aisa Jenny. Here we have Professor Yani Sudiani, and also we have our college, Professor Irianti and Dr. Wawan. Welcome to our conference. Dear colleagues, keynote speaker, organizer, committee, and all delegates. It gives me immense pleasure on behalf of conference organizer in welcoming all of you to the 8th International Symposium on Applied Chemistry, ISAC 2022, organized by Research Center for Chemistry, National Research and Innovation Agency. We are really thankful and grateful for you present online and offline here in this symposium, which are reflecting vigorous enthusiasm in collaborating international research despite this pandemic situation. To this day, we had cordially invite all professors, researchers, scholars, and industry delegates to take this opportunity for international collaborative conference, which has resulting about 114 registered abstract to be present in this symposium. Those are comprised of 7 main topics and having scope on advanced chemistry to break through the way we live for the future. We also glad and honored to know that the research is to be considered as an international output of publication from AIP Proceeding Conference, indexed by Scopus. Therefore, I would like to thank the organized committee, thank you, Mr. Sudi, for their constant effort to this international conference. We wish all of us could bring about the positively prominent outcome as the result of this conference and could possible further work together. We are very confident that this conference will be very successful like every other years, and we request your cooperation to make it memorable. Thank you and please keep healthy. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yeni Meliana, Master of Science, for the welcoming speech. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now we may have the honor to invite the Chairman of Research Organization for Nanotechnology and Material, Professor Dr. Ratno Mulyadi, to deliver the opening remarks and officially open this symposium. Professor Ratno Mulyadi, the time is yours.
Thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dear Head of Research Center for Chemistry, Dr. Yen Meliana, distinguished keynote speakers, invited speakers, professors, scientists, academicians, researchers, and all participants, it is my great pleasure, it is my great honor to be here in this prestigious forum. My name is Ratno Nuryadi, Chairman of the Research Organization for Nanotechnology and Materials, National Research and Innovation Agency.
Recording in
BRIN.
progress.
On behalf of National Research and Innovation Agency, BRIN, I would like to welcome all of you, the participants of the 8th International Symposium on Applied Chemistry, ISAC 2022, organized by all the resources, knowledge, and courage to deliver successive research by applying chemistry. I wish all of us could initiate collaborative research as the result of this international conference and work together as professionals to elaborate on all delivered research. Congratulations to the organizing committee who have made a big effort to organize this international conference as a meeting place for researchers, academicians, scholars, engineers, industry partners, and all stakeholders that focus on advanced chemistry. Again, I wish you every success with this important conference, and I look forward to learning about the outcome. And finally, by saying Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, I hereby officially open the 8th International Symposium on Applied Chemistry 2022. Thank you very much. Billahi taufiq walhidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Moderators, and all distinguished participants. Before we start the next session, it's better for us to take screen capture for our documentation. Please, for all participants that attended this session online, could you turn on the video? For online participant, please could you turn on the video? Okay. Well, we will capture the screen. Let me count 1, 2, 3. Okay, I think only one slide. Okay. Thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before we begin the plenary session, I would like to give some announcement to all of you. First, announcement to online participant. For online participant, please have a stable internet connection. Make sure that your computer has a working camera and audio device. The host will automatically mute the audio of all participants. The chat room is only available for delivering questions to the ongoing discussion session and announcement delivered by organizing committees. For participants that come on site, please try to limit distraction like your smartphone during the plenary session. Well, ladies and gentlemen, from now on, we will start plenary session 1. We have 3 speakers on this session. First, Professor Eiichi Kondo from University of Yamanashi, Japan, and Mrs. Siti Nurul Aisyah Jenny, PhD, from National Research and Innovation Agency of Indonesia, who come on site and gathering with us today. And the third is Professor Dr. Oki Muraza from Pertamina Indonesia. For Professor Dr. Oki Muraza will be presented by Adam Kusumarianto and join us with online discussion. This plenary session will moderate by Mr. Roni Mariana, PhD. Mr. Roni Mariana, PhD is the senior researcher at Research Center for Chemistry, National Research and Innovation Agency of Indonesia, BRIN. Mr. Roni Mariana, PhD, got his master's degree from Keio University, Tokyo, Japan, and PhD degree from Tsukuba University, Japan, from 2014 until 2017. He got award from Impact Foundation Scholarship for Master Program and Mombuka Gakusho, Japanese Government. Take your time. Requesting from committee, we would like to take a photo together. I would like to invite the owner, our Honorable Professor Dr. Ratno Muryadi, Professor Eiichi Kondo, Dr. Yeni Meliana, and Mr. Sudirmanto, PhD, Mrs. Siti Nurul Aisyah Jenny, to come in front of the stage, and Professor Yani. And we invited also Prof. Ani. Oh, Prof. Ani, please come to the stage. Okay. And also request from committee organizer, Prof. Nina, could you come to the stage? I'm sorry, another is request from our research center, the head of research center, Prof. Yanti and Dr. Wawan to join us to take a picture in front of the stage. Thank you. Kindly, we requested for all participants to join us to the stage to take some photo for documentation. Please join us to the stage. Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the time and taking picture with us. Now, please be seated on the chair that has been prepared. Thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we come back to the plenary session, and I will give the time to the Mr. Roni Mariana, PhD.
Thank you, Ms. Reza. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. His Excellency, the Chairman of the Research Organization for Nanotechnology and Material, Professor Ratno, His Excellency, the Head of the Research Center for Chemurgy, Dr. Yeni Meliana, and in next several days, she also become a professor. Congratulations. And then the honorable professor, honorable invited speakers, and honorable all participants. My name is Roni. I'm here as a moderator for this session. Before we start, I will give a pantun, but in English. A beaker glass has been used for making a solution. Then the solution turned into precipitation. Let us have a fruitful discussion, sharing knowledge and making collaboration. Thank you, thank you. Enough. I only prepare one. Ladies and gentlemen, this session will consist of 3 presenters. The first one will be Professor Oki Muraza, Senior Vice President RTI Pertamina, but unfortunately, because his tight schedule, he cannot join us online and offline, so he will be replaced by his colleague, Mr. Adam. And then the second speech will be delivered by Professor Eiichi Kondo from Yamanashi University, Japan. And the third one will be our colleagues from Research Center for Chemistry BRIN, an excellent researcher, Dr. Aisyah Jenny. Ladies and gentlemen, let's start the first presenter, Mr. Adam. Mr. Adam has already joined with us.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Roni.
Good morning,
Can you
Mr.
hear me?
Adam. Thank you for attending our session. Ladies and gentlemen, I will read a brief curriculum vitae of Mr. Adam. His name is Adam Kusumarianto. He is a specialist process development research at PT Pertamina Persero. He has graduated from Chemical Engineering Gajah Mada University, and then from 2021 till now, he is a master student at the same university. And his working experience before his joining Pertamina, he is operation and process engineer at PT Pupuk Sriwijaya Palembang. And then now he is a researcher in process development, process simulation, scale-up catalyst formulation, and catalyst rejuvenation at PT Pertamina. Pak Adam, now the time is yours.
Okay, thank you. First, let me share my screen. Okay. Okay, can you see my screen now? Mr. Ronnie, can you see my screen right now?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Okay, let me start again. Okay.
Additional information for Mr. Adam, you have about 40 minutes to deliver your speech.
Okay. How about right now?
Not yet. Maybe committee.
Still not yet.
Di situnya kok enggak.
I've seen from the chat box, the participant already can see my screen. But I don't know if the offline can also see my screen or not.
Okay. Your screen is already seen by us.
Okay, thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dear the honorable professors, honorable key speakers, committee, and other participants. First of all, I would like to apologize on behalf of Professor Oki Muraza because he's unable to join us in this wonderful webinar today. And also, I also want to apologize for myself because I can only join this webinar virtually. But this is my greatest honor to share the catalyst development in Pertamina. Okay, let's start the presentation. I would like to start the presentation with the history of catalyst development in Pertamina. So we only started our catalyst development in 1999. We start with the catalyst evaluation and catalyst selection for the existing catalysts in refinery. And in 2003, we start our first catalyst research for naphtha hydrotreating catalyst, and then we, in collaboration with the local university, Institut Teknologi Bandung, and then we succeed in formulation with the name of PK100HS. This is our first catalyst. And in 2011, we do the trials for this catalyst in hydrogen in our unit at refinery unit 2 Dumai. And Alhamdulillah, fortunately, the trials was successful. And then this catalyst was then being used in other refinery. And in 2010, we start our other catalyst for green diesel catalyst. So this research was this is the research to support the government program in biofuel. So in 2014, we did the trials for this green diesel catalyst on the same refinery, in the refinery to Dumai, but on different unit. We succeed to do the 7.5% processing of bio with we mix the bio feedstock with the existing feedstock. And then fast forward to 2016 until 2018, we did another research for the catalyst, such as isomer-resistant catalyst. And then we also try to improve our green diesel catalyst for the second generation. And then we also try to come to the middle distillate for green diesel, the PK230TB. And also we have a prototype for metal removal and other catalysts for residue, naphtha. And also we start doing research for the fluidized catalytic cracking. And this is what we did to build our capability. And in 2019, we start doing in-house research. So we have research in LCO treater unit in Balongan was designed to process only kerosene to after, but we try our catalyst in that unit, and we succeed to produce Pertadex or high quality diesel with sulfur maximum of 50 ppm. And then by adjusting the operation condition, we also could produce the diesel with 10 ppm sulfur. And also on the same year, we also tried to do another trials for the green diesel. So Alhamdulillah, in 2020, we succeed in producing the 100 or 100% green diesel in refinery Dubai. And also in 2021, we did the same trials in Cilacap, and also in Cilacap, we also tried to produce another bioafter. We succeed producing J 2.4 or 2.4% bio in an after. And then for right now in 2022 until 2026, we have national strategic projects for biohydrocarbon demo plan, and also Catalyst Merah Putih. Catalyst Merah Putih is our first, or the first catalyst plant in Indonesia, which belong to 100% of Indonesia company. So I would like to share the journey of this joint venture. We start our the journey of the joint venture started in 2018. We did the feasibility study on the usage of catalyst in Pertamina. And then in 2019, we have the memorandum of understanding between Pertamina and one of the fertilizer company, Pupuk Ujang Cikampek, about cooperation on development of hydrotreating catalysts. And then also on the same year, in December 2019, we have the signing of the principal agreement. And by 2020, there is the establishment of the joint venture Catalyst Energy Indonesia. So this is the strategic initiative of Pertamina Catalyst Development. So basically, we start our catalyst development based on the request from the refinery. So in response of the challenge the catalyst needs, especially we did within the Pertamina. So we start the research in collaboration with Institute Technology Bandung to produce a hydrogen catalyst with competitive price and also have similar or better performance than the existing catalyst. As you can see here, that Pertamina catalyst consumption is quite high. So the procurement itself reached around 55 million USD per year in 2015, and almost all of the catalysts obtained through the import. So there is a few business model option for catalyst production strategy. The first one would be the contract manufacturing. So this is what we did until now. So Pertamina handed over the procurement from the raw materials until the processing into the manufacturers. There's also another option would be the toll manufacturing. It's quite similar with contract manufacturing, but Pertamina provides the raw materials and then give it to the toll manufacturers. There's another option would be the in-house. So the in-house would be that Pertamina builds and operates their own catalyst plant independently. And the last option would be the joint venture. Joint venture is similar with the in-house, but Pertamina cooperates with other companies to build a catalyst plant, which then Pertamina is the majority or the minority ownership of the same. And from our benefit cost analysis, we found that of a GV with the majority scenario is the best option from the aspects of marketing, technical and management, legal, environmental, and also the financial aspect. So this is the business scheme of the Catalyst Synergy Indonesia, or the joint venture, the Catalyst joint venture company. So there is three main shareholders. The three main shareholders. The first one would be, of course, Pertamina, which then delegated to Pertamina Lubricants as the main shareholders of the company with 38 shares. There's also Fertilizer Holding Pupuk Indonesia, which then delegated to Ujang Cikampek with 37 shares. And lastly would be sorry. Okay, sorry. The last one will be from Institut Teknologi Bandung with 25 shares. So each of the shareholders has their own task of Pujang. They in charge of the establishment and commercialization. They also provide land and utilities as well as assisting R&D catalysts. So this joint venture would be built in Cikampek. And for Institut Teknologi Bandung and Pertamina, we provide the R&D support, and then there's also Pertamina BRIN as the Pertamina representation together with us from the research and technology innovation. We will involve more in R&D of the catalyst product and catalyst product consumer. And then this is the production and sales scenario for the first year until the third year. So basically, we hope that this company could start producing catalysts on the next year. Yeah. So the first year we could not produce 100% capacity for the first year. So the target for the first is only around maybe 87 ton and 40 tons. So this company has two lines. So we call it line A and line B. Line A for producing hydrogen catalysts, and line B for producing the oleochemicals catalysts, which based off copper chrome and coupling. Okay. For the next slide would be the benefits. So the benefit for this joint venture for Pertamina groups and also for the national, the direct contribution would be from this company we could reduce the dependence of the imported catalyst. So the GV itself has the capacity of 800 ton per year, which worth around 250 billion rupees per year. And also they provide a new employment for the construction itself. They need around 100 people, and then during the normal operation they need around 42 people. There's also another direct contribution. So we want Indonesia to be the developed country. So we need to be independent in all of aspects, and one of the aspect would be the technological independence. So by joint venture, by having joint venture of the catalyst, we could support more of the program from the government, such as the B30. So we can increasing the national energy security. And then there's also another contribution for farmers, plantations, and palm oil industry, because by needing a huge amount of by producing a huge amount of biofuel, we need a huge amount of biofeedstock, right? So by then we encourage the effort to realize the high productivity, especially from the smallholder gardens. And then there's also encouraging efficiency efforts and optimizing technology for processing fresh fruit bunch into palm oil and palm kernel to reduce the production cost. There's also benefit for the Pertamina itself from the Kilang Pertamina International. There's the cost reduction from purchasing the catalyst from national, so we don't import a catalyst again. And there's also the stability of catalyst supply for the process in refinery. And then the benefit for the Pertamina lubricants as the shareholders, they have the revenue stream and also mastery of the catalyst process technology and business. Because we hope that we can also compete with other giant catalyst companies such as maybe Topsoe, Accent, EOP, and much more. Okay, this is the utilities or the usage of the Pertamina catalyst until now. So the first catalyst, the PK100HS, we did the trial in 2011, and then after that, the PK100HS also being used in Balongan in 2015, Cilacap in 2014, Balikpapan 2017, and also TPPI, Tuban 2017, and lastly would be in Kasim on the last year in 2020. There's also our newest catalyst, this for FCC catalyst, which has been proven or being tested on last year, 2021 until 2022. And to protect our catalyst, we have a few patents, around 30 patents, which consist from the process itself. We have around more than 7 patents. And for the hydrotreating and hydrocracking catalyst, we have more than 7 patents. For the hydrofinishing catalyst to process lube oil such as lube oil, we have more than 5 patents. And for green F2 or sustainable aviation fuel, we have 9 patents, which consists of zero light production, support, metal solution, catalyst, and also the process itself. And we also have patents for the components of the catalyst. And lastly would be the patent for the green fuel catalyst, with around 10 patents. Okay, besides the hydrotreating catalyst, we also develop other catalysts such as CO2 reforming. So we also collaborate in collaboration with other local university to produce the CO2 reforming catalyst. So basically for the reforming, the usual pathway would be using the steam reforming. So to convert methane to become syngas, hydrogen and carbon monoxide, easily we use the water, steam. But we want to use less steam and then have a more efficient reaction. So we try to find other reactions such as the CO2 reforming or the dry reforming with less steam. From this we can convert the CO2 to become other valuable products such as ethylene glycol. But for us, we focus on the fuel, so we try to convert the CO2 to become dimethyl ether. So basically, this is what we want. This is another project that we did right now. This is still in the laboratory stage, but we hope that by using our pathway, we can have low emission and then much more efficient reaction product to produce the dimethyl ether. So this dimethyl itself, there's a few usage in Pertamina, such as to support other government program, A20 programs. So we will ban the 20% of dimethyl ether or maybe alcohol and other products into the gasoline to reduce the import of the fuel. We can also use the dimethyl ether for LPG blending and other chemical industry or farm industry. And also we use this DME for our internal research usage, such as DMFC fuel cell and also for direct methane fuel. Our current progress, we could convert CO2 and methane around 70% with a single product ratio below 1 or around 0.95%. Okay, I think that's all from me. Thank you for your kind attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Sorry, Mr. Roni, I can't hear you.
Thank you, Pak Adam, for the very informative presentation about the development of catalyst at Pertamina. Ladies and gentlemen, now we will start the discussion session. Since in the Research Center for Chemistry, there is a catalyst research group and also several researchers also working with catalyst. Maybe there are several questions regarding this topic. Please raise your hand, mention your name and your institution. For the first session, we will give three question. For the three question. For the participant who attend online also can ask a question by writing or directly raise your hand at the Zoom meeting. Okay, is there any question? Okay, please.
Thank you for the chance. I'm Kiki Cornelia Sari. I just want to ask about the GV Catalyst Synergy Indonesia that has been established at 2020. So what about the current condition? Whether the catalyst now is producing or still in the initial production or something? Thank you.
Okay, please, Padam.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Kiki, for this question. So the progress of the joint venture right now, they are still in commissioning stage. So they still don't produce the catalyst right now, and hopefully, on the next year, maybe in mid year, I guess, they can start trial production for the catalyst. But right now they are still in manufacturing stage, so they still don't produce the catalyst yet. Hopefully, it could answer your curiosity, or maybe I need to explain more. I'm sorry, Mr. Roni, I couldn't hear you.
Okay, I'm curious about the development of merah putih catalyst because it's very famous, yeah. Is it already produced in the production?
Right now, the company itself is still in commissioning stage, so they still waiting for their equipment to be manufactured, and then they also need to check whether the equipment is there's problem or not with the equipment, and then after that we will do the commissioning for each equipment, and then we do the trial production, and after that then we can start producing the catalyst. But the estimate time for the first production would be on the next year in 2023. Maybe hopefully we can start in the maybe around July or August 2023. But right now they don't have all of the equipment, so they still waiting some of the equipment to be manufactured, and then after that they need to check whether the equipment has problem or not. For if there is no problem, then we can start the commissioning stage, and after that we did the trial. So right now they still cannot produce the catalyst yet.
Oh, okay, thank you for the explanation. Maybe the last question, is there any question from the floor? Oh yeah, please.
Okay, thank you for the time. I'm Yanti. I'm come from Lambung Mangkurat University, so Borneo. In line with the production of the catalyst in the Pertamina, which one is more priority in your project for the development of the efficiency of the process or development of the new product for the catalyst? Maybe this one, because I saw in your presentation more patent and more, it should be support for this, your research. Okay, thank you.
Okay. I'm not quite get at the question, but I will try to answer what I get first. So basically what we did from this, we have a lot of patent, including the process and then also the formulation of the catalyst. So we have almost every aspect for the catalyst. So we let's start with the support of the catalyst. We have patent for producing different support. So depend on what kind of feedstock that we want to process. We will need an other kind of the support catalyst. And then from the support, we also have the patents for the solution, the metal solution, how to make the metal solution, and then how to do the impregnation. And there's also the patent for the formulation, because different kind of metals and different kind of the metals composition, which produce a different performance. So that's why we have a lot of patents regarding that. I don't know if my answer is what you want to know. Maybe you could, maybe there's another feedback, Mrs. Yanti.
Okay, thank you, Pak Adam. We still have time, several minutes. Oh, okay, please.
My name is Detri from Research of Pharmaceutical Ingredient, BRIN. In your presentation, you mentioned you use the catalyst like rhodium or deuterium and zirconium. I would like to know the sustainability of this typical catalyst. Thank you very much.
Okay, that's an interesting question for the sustainability of ruthenium and zirconium. For this kind of metals, we develop this catalyst for the reforming catalyst, right? So right now we still in lab scale stage. That's why the commercial phase are still quite long, because even if we have the catalyst, we also need the unit to use this catalyst, right? And right now Pertamina didn't have the unit for the CO2 reforming, so that means that we need to have the unit. We need to we need to have the CO2 reforming unit first for the use of the catalyst. Therefore, the sustainability of the ruthenium and zirconium as the noble metals and as noble metals, we know that this is hard, and the amount of the metals itself is quite rare in right now, right? But that's why we also try to use other metals such as cobalt. So we don't use only ruthenium and zirconium. Maybe we only use a small amount of ruthenium and zirconium to promote as another what do you call it, promoter for the cobalt. So mainly we try to focus on using the cobalt as the main catalyst, because I know that it's hard to find a ruthenium and also zirconium, especially if you want to use this as the main metals for the catalyst. And we also try to find other metals, especially the metals that we can find easily in Indonesia. And we also we also have other projects to we call it the catalyst, what do you call it? So the reclaim. So we want to reclaim the metals from the spent catalyst in order to reuse the metals again, because if we only depend on the metals in we know that the reserve metals is declining each year, so we want to for the sustainability we have other project for the recovery.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you, Pak Adam. One more question will be delivered by from the Zoom. Is it will be directly question or read? Oh, okay, okay, please.
Okay, excuse me. My name Benny from Center of Technology, Testing Technology and Standard. My question is, you talk about Pertamina catalyst development or carbon dioxide reforming. What is the standard do you use for this product? Thank you.
Okay, the standard for the product, the catalyst, the product of the catalyst, or the product from the usage of the catalyst?
The standard of the catalyst.
Okay, for the standard of the catalyst, we first start our research with from the paper, and then from there we try to from there we try to, because there's if we are talking about the standards, there is not yet the standard for the CO2 reforming for the dry reforming catalyst, because the usual catalyst that being used for reforming would be the steam reformer. So there's a lot of there is already a general standard for the steam reforming catalyst, but for the CO2 reforming or dry reforming catalyst, basically there is still no standard. So how we say that the catalyst is in good performance or not, we evaluate the performance of the catalyst. So we didn't so that's why we don't have the standard for the catalyst. It's more like we have the standard for the catalyst performance. So we tested each catalyst, and then based on the performance we compare with other results from the papers, and then if there is still need improvement, we did the reformulation, and then we redid again the testing for the catalyst performance and something like that.
So I'm sorry, Mr. Adam, if you Pertamina catalyst, so you want to produce on 2023, I think you must be think about the standard for the catalyst. Thank you.
Okay, sir, but I think there's a little bit misunderstanding. For this CO2 reformer, we still in a lab stage, so we didn't have plan to produce this reformer in a few years, maybe I don't know, 10 or 20 years again. But right now the catalyst that being produced in the joint venture only the hydrotreating catalyst and the oleochemical catalyst. For this CO2 reformer, we still haven't decided when we will produce the catalyst. That's why we still didn't have the standard for the catalyst. But if you're asking about the standard for the hydrogen catalyst, of course we have the standard for that catalyst.
Okay, thank you very much for your question.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
This session. Hello, Pak Adam. There is a last question. I will read. I think this is an important question from the Mr. Saipur Rahman. Is there any possibilities of BRIN to collaborate with Pertamina to develop catalyst? If so, what scheme is available or how to start?
Okay. Of course, there's an open possibility for BRIN and Pertamina to do the collaboration. Usually, we could meet and then we start discussing what kind of the catalyst that BRIN has developed, and then what kind of catalyst that the Pertamina needs, and then after that we can start or which kind of the catalyst that could be in collaboration for us, something like that. So for the first stage, maybe you could come to our facility in Pulau Gadung, and then maybe we have a talk, we have some discussion, and then after that we can start discussion what kind of the collaboration that could be done between us, right? Because we didn't close the collaboration with just like a local university or something. We have opened ourselves, especially for the locals, not only for the university, maybe for other companies. So it is possible for to have the collaboration for.
I think it is a clear answer ya to Pak Saifur Rahman. You are invited to come to Pak Adam Facility Office ya at Pulau Gadung. Maybe you and your team can follow up this opportunity later. And maybe not only catalyst but Research Center for Chemistry also have several project ya. Maybe we can follow up this opportunity ya Pak Adam. Okay, thank you very much again Pak Adam. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the last of the first presenter. Let's give applause to Pak Adam from PT Pertamina.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, before we continue to the second presenter from Professor Eiichi Kondo, not yet Professor, we will have a coffee break about 15 minutes. Maybe we can come here about 10:05 and we will start again this session. Please have a coffee break in the outside of this room. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Research is our strength to overcome any limitations. Innovation is the guiding vision that drives us towards the future. We cannot face this alone. We must stand together to make our vision a reality. Growing strong upon the land of Nusantara, a magical place filled with miracle and wonder. A land spanning 2 continents and 2 oceans, rich in culture and biodiversity. We and Indonesia are the necessary combination to realize the grand visions of the future. Like an orchestra, BRIN harmonizes research, development, assessment, application, and also synergies, invention, and innovation in Indonesia. We created an ecosystem consisting of 7 deputies, 12 research organizations, and 85 research centers dispersed throughout Indonesia. Research Organization for Aeronautics and Space, Research Organization for Nuclear Energy, Research Organization for Energy and Manufacture, Research Organization for Earth Sciences and Maritime, Research Organization for Life Sciences and Environment, Research Organization for Electronics and Informatics, Research Organization for Social Sciences and Humanities, Research Organization for Archaeology, Language, and Literature, Research Organization for Health, Research Organization for Nanotechnology and Material, research organization for agriculture and food, research organization for governance, economy, and community welfare. BRIN catalyzing research and innovation to develop an advanced scientific ecosystem in Indonesia with two main targets. BRIN realizes the tremendous potential of the nation's youth in the field of science and technology. Thus, various research and innovation policies are being formulated to develop and cultivate human resources with high competence and aptitude in science and technology. Creating many excellent programs is a form of BRIN's commitment to researchers, innovators, and the general population from various disciplines across the nation. The research and innovation ecosystem quality improvement in Indonesia is also realized through the collaboration of various ministries, institutions, domestic industries, and regional governments, to name a few, by forming the Regional Research and Innovation Agency, or BRIDA. Moreover, cooperation with various foreign research institutions continue to be developed through active participation as member of various organizations and international forums. BRIN organizes research into a more effective and efficient process by integrating human resources, infrastructure, and budget from various research and development institutions. Oriented by a national research priority, BRIN routinely enacts comprehensive evaluations from various research and development institutions. This effort is supported through the continued management and improvement of various research and innovation facilities located across 17 regions of Indonesia, dedicated towards the development of science and technology. BRIN continues to improve our contribution to research and innovation towards national development by developing and revitalizing 4 areas of science and technology, or KST. An integrated area consisting of research laboratory facilities, testing laboratories, and industrial facilities for both startups and SMEs, tenant office rooms, co-working space, meeting rooms, gallery rooms, and other supporting facilities. BRIN is here to manifest the future of a golden Indonesia 2045 by consolidating science and technology resources and creating a resource ecosystem and research-based economical foundation. Transforming Indonesia as a global reference in the development and application of science and technology practices and the good of humankind. Nature is the source of inspiration. Knowledge is the foundation, and to be put in praxis for the sake of the nation. Research is our strength to overcome any limitations. Innovation is the guiding vision that drives us towards the future. We cannot face this alone. We must stand together to make our vision a reality. Growing strong upon the land of Nusantara, a magical place filled with miracle and wonder. A land spanning 2 continents and 2 oceans, rich in culture and biodiversity. We and Indonesia are the necessary combination to realize the grand visions of the future. Like an orchestra, BRIN harmonizes research, development, assessment, application, and also synergies, invention, and innovation in Indonesia. We created an ecosystem consisting of 7 deputies, 12 research organizations, and 85 research centers dispersed throughout Indonesia. Research Organization for Aeronautics and Space, Research Organization for Nuclear Energy, Research Organization for Energy and Manufacture, Research Organization for Earth Sciences and Maritime, Research Organization for Life Sciences and Environment, Research Organization for Electronics and Informatics, Research Organization for Social Sciences and Humanities, Research Organization for Archaeology, Language, and Literature, Research Organization for Health, Research Organization for Nanotechnology and Material, Research Organization for Agriculture and Food, Research Organization for Governance, Economy, and Community Welfare. BRIN catalyzing research and innovation to develop an advanced scientific ecosystem in Indonesia with 2 main targets. BRIN realizes the tremendous potential of the nation's youth in the field of science and technology. Thus, various research and innovation policies are being formulated to develop and cultivate human resources with high competence and aptitude in science and technology. Creating many excellent programs is a form of BRIN's commitment to researchers, innovators, and the general population from various disciplines across the nation. The research and innovation ecosystem quality improvement in Indonesia is also realized through the collaboration of various ministries, institutions, domestic industries, and regional governments, to name a few, by forming the Regional Research and Innovation Agency, or RIDA. Moreover, cooperation with various foreign research institutions continue to be developed through active participation as member of various organizations and international forums. BRIN organizes research into a more effective and efficient process by integrating human resources, infrastructure, and budget from various research and development institutions. Oriented by a national research priority, BRIN routinely enacts comprehensive evaluations from various research and development institutions. This effort is supported through the continued management and improvement of various research and innovation facilities located across 17 regions of Indonesia, dedicated towards the development of science and technology. BRIN continues to improve our contribution to research and innovation towards national development by developing and revitalizing 4 areas of science and technology, or KST. An integrated area consisting of research laboratory facilities, testing laboratories, and industrial facilities for both startups and SMEs, tenant office rooms, co-working space, meeting rooms, gallery rooms, and other supporting facilities. BRIN is here to manifest the future of a golden Indonesia 2045 by consolidating science and technology resources and creating a resource ecosystem and research-based economical foundation. Transforming Indonesia as a global reference in the development and application of science and technology, practices, and the good of humankind. Nature is the source of inspiration. Knowledge is the foundation, and to be put in praxis for the sake of the nation. Research is our strength to overcome any limitations. Innovation is the guiding vision that drives us towards the future. We cannot face this alone. We must stand together to make our vision a reality. Growing strong upon the land of Nusantara, a magical place filled with miracle and wonder. A land spanning 2 continents and 2 oceans, rich in culture and biodiversity. We and Indonesia are the necessary combination to realize the grand visions of the future. Like an orchestra, BRIN harmonizes research, development, assessment, application, and also synergies, invention, and innovation in Indonesia. We created an ecosystem consisting of 7 deputies, 12 research organizations, and 85 research centers dispersed throughout Indonesia. Research Organization for Aeronautics and Space, Research Organization for Nuclear Energy, Research Organization for Energy and Manufacture, Research Organization for Earth Sciences and Maritime, Research Organization for Life Sciences and Environment, Research Organization for Electronics and Informatics, Research Organization for Social Sciences and Humanities, Research Organization for Archaeology, Language, and Literature, Research Organization for Health, Research Organization for Nanotechnology and Material, Research Organization for Agriculture and Food, Research Organization for Governance, Economy, and Community Welfare. BRIN catalyzing research and innovation to develop an advanced scientific ecosystem in Indonesia with 2 main targets. BRIN realizes the tremendous potential of the nation's youth in the field of science and technology. Thus, various research and innovation policies are being formulated to develop and cultivate human resources with high competence and aptitude in science and technology. Creating many excellent programs is a form of BRIN's commitment to researchers, innovators, and the general population from various disciplines across the nation. The research and innovation ecosystem quality improvement in Indonesia is also realized through the collaboration of various ministries, institutions, domestic industries, and regional governments, to name a few, by forming the Regional Research and Innovation Agency, or RIDA. Moreover, cooperation with various foreign research institutions continue to be developed through active participation as member of various organizations and international forums. BRIN organizes research into a more effective and efficient process by integrating human resources, infrastructure, and budget from various research and development institutions. Oriented by a national research priority, BRIN routinely enacts comprehensive evaluations from various research and development institutions. This effort is supported through the continued management and improvement of various research and innovation facilities located across 17 regions of Indonesia, dedicated towards the development of science and technology. BRIN continues to improve our contribution to research and innovation towards national development by developing and revitalizing 4 areas of science and technology, or KST. An integrated area consisting of research laboratory facilities, testing laboratories, and industrial facilities for both startups and SMEs, tenant office rooms, co-working space, meeting rooms, gallery rooms, and other supporting facilities. BRIN is here to manifest the future of a golden Indonesia 2045 by consolidating science and technology resources and creating a resource ecosystem and research-based economical foundation. Transforming Indonesia as a global reference in the development and application of science and technology, practices, and the good of humankind. Nature is the source of inspiration. Knowledge is the foundation, and to be put in praxis for the sake of the nation. Research is our strength to overcome any limitations. Innovation is the guiding vision that drives us towards the future. We cannot face this alone. We must stand together to make our vision a reality. Growing strong upon the land of Nusantara, a magical place filled with miracle and wonder. A land spanning 2 continents and 2 oceans, rich in culture and biodiversity. We and Indonesia are the necessary combination to realize the grand visions of the future. Like an orchestra, BRIN harmonizes research, development, assessment, application, and also synergies, invention, and innovation in Indonesia. We created an ecosystem consisting of 7 deputies, 12 research organizations, and 85 research centers dispersed throughout Indonesia. Research Organization for Aeronautics and Space, Research Organization for Nuclear Energy, Research Organization for Energy and Manufacture, Research Organization for Earth Sciences and Maritime, Research Organization for Life Sciences and Environment, Research Organization for Electronics and Informatics, Research Organization for Social Sciences and Humanities, Research Organization for Archaeology, Language, and Literature, Research Organization for Health, Research Organization for Nanotechnology and Material, Research Organization for Agriculture and Food, Research Organization for Governance, Economy, and Community Welfare. BRIN catalyzing research and innovation to develop an advanced scientific ecosystem in Indonesia with 2 main targets. BRIN realizes the tremendous potential of the nation's youth in the field of science and technology. Thus, various research and innovation policies are being formulated to develop and cultivate human resources with high competence and aptitude in science and technology. Creating many excellent programs is a form of BRIN's commitment to researchers, innovators, and the general population from various disciplines across the nation. The research and innovation ecosystem quality improvement in Indonesia is also realized through the collaboration of various ministries, institutions, domestic industries, and regional governments, to name a few, by forming the Regional Research and Innovation Agency, or RIDA. Moreover, cooperation with various foreign research institutions continue to be developed through active participation as member of various organizations and international forums. BRIN.
Introduction. Actually, he has many awards, such as fellow member of Japan Applied Physics Society, Admita Award, Advanced Metallization Conference Association, and so on. And has many publication, more than 150 original paper, and also more than 100 Japanese and US patent. Oh, very impressive. And now I will give the time to the Professor Kondo. Please, Kondo Sensei.
Okay, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I'm Kondo from University of Yamanashi. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about my old and recent activities. It's about the material synthesis in supercritical carbon dioxide solutions. This is a CV, so I will skip this slide. So this is also my present and past career. And my teaching and researching fields are material science, for instance, and supercritical fluid processing, thin film processing, and I teach chemical reaction engineering and physical chemistry, and I'm also interested in applied ellipsometry. I don't involve all of them in this talk. So where is Yamanashi? University Yamanashi is located, of course, in Japan, in the central part of Japan islands. So the campus is located at the center of Yamanashi Prefecture. You can see the photo of the campus. It's a really greeny landscape. So actually Mount Fuji is close to my place, and in this photo, Mount Fuji is over there. By eyes, you can see, you feel much bigger. But if you take a photo, it's Mount Fuji becomes very small. I like this campus very much. So so let me talk the supercritical CO2. So this is a phase diagram of carbon dioxide. Of course, phase diagram is a diagram plotted the relationship of the phases against pressure and temperature. So gas molecules are moving around freely. That means internal energy is identical to the sum of the energy of motion. In the case of liquid, molecules have some freedom, but mostly the energy is distributed to the chemical bonding between the molecules. And this line is the vapor pressure line. So above this line, CO2 is a liquid. Below this line, CO2 is gaseous. So there is an end point here called critical point, as you know. So above the critical point, we call this status as a supercritical state or supercritical fluids. So supercritical CO2 has properties between liquid and gas. So for instance, density is maybe we can say density is as high as that of the liquid. On the contrary, on the other hand, viscosity is of CO2, SCF CO2 is close to gas, we can say. So, in terms of the physical-chemical properties, supercritical fluids has the properties of liquid and gas. So any usual substances have a critical point. That means any substances can become supercritical fluids. But most of the chemicals are reactive. So CO2 is usually favored to be a common application. So CO2 has a critical point of which temperature is 31 degrees C, and critical point is 3.4 or megapascal. So it's quite easily to achieve engineering point of view. So CO2 is a popular CO2 supercritical medium. You can use other materials like fluorocarbons, but usually these materials are quite expensive. So in terms of the nanostructure processing, good aspects of the supercritical CO2 is like this. First of all, it's a tunable solvent. I will show you later. And the medium is homogeneous, and it has zero surface tension, no surface tension. And as I mentioned, it has high diffusivity and low viscosity at the same time. And the CO2 is, of course, an inert material and stable even at elevated temperatures. And it's safe, recyclable, and affordable. And I don't mention much, but it has inertia. It has a high mass, so you can use CO2 for some applications. So this is a basic physical chemistry. So the solvent capability is a function of the density and polarizability. So CO2 has a very small dipole moment in the molecule. So it's a weak solvent. And the CO2 has, supercritical CO2 has a high density. So that means supercritical CO2 is a moderate solvent like a hexane. So this is a density pressure diagram of CO2. At below the critical point, of course, gaseous CO2 and liquid CO2 are both in equilibrium. So liquid has, of course, a higher density, and gas has a lower density. This is a critical point. So above critical point, these lines becomes like this, or like this, or like this. That means you can choose, you can control the density. That means you can control the solvent capability as a function of temperature and pressure. So that means CO2 solvent capability is tunable. You can control very easily. So applications are very vast. So as a solvent, people use CO2 for extraction or cleaning, of, for instance, usually dry cleaning, not only dry cleaning, but for instance, cleaning of mechanical components. And reaction medium or foaming. And in terms of the zero surface tension, supercritical CO2 is used for drying and as a medium for deep penetration. So the CO2 is used, supercritical CO2 is used for food industry, textile, dyeing, for instance, dry cleaning, spray painting, microelectronics, polymer processing, and also for material synthesis. So my research activities are mainly on material synthesis. But one of my students, my past students, are interested in using supercritical CO2 for collecting extract oil from brown rice. So this is also one of my research activities. As you may know already, supercritical CO2 is used as a safe medium for extracting aromatic oils and caffeine, for instance. So using supercritical CO2 industrially is quite easy thing. So but for material synthesis or for other applications, supercritical CO2 has not been utilized commercially very much. So it's still a strong research topic. So how do we do that? So this is a basic scheme of material synthesis inside or via supercritical CO2. So the raw materials can be solid or liquid and gas. So we dissolve the raw materials in supercritical CO2, and we do a reaction inside or outside CO2. Then we get usually solid as a product. So there's another scheme. You use a solid as a raw material, and you dissolve raw material in CO2, and you precipitate the raw material. So in this case, the material of this starting material and the ending material is the same, but the shape will be changed. This is a very old paper, but this is a good example for using supercritical CO2 for material processing. So this is a reservoir of the CO2, and you pressurize the CO2. Then this is a material reservoir. So this material is dissolved in CO2. Then after some components, finally CO2 fluid is sprayed. So the CO2 becomes gas. So CO2 loses capability of dissolving material. So the material can be collected as particles like this. So that you can change the form of materials as functions of nozzle temperature, for instance. So there's another path for the key is changing the solubility. So if you decrease the temperatures, it's quite complicated actually. The solubility is a difficult function of temperature and pressure. So you can change pressure and temperature precisely. You can change the solubility precisely. Then you can dissolve or collect materials easily. I will skip this slide. So this is another old paper from former USSR, I think. This is actually, as far as I know, the first paper of synthesizing material inside CO2. So in this case, this researcher used this fluorocarbon as a supercritical medium, and those guys dissolved precursor in CO2, then heated up the substrate, then fabricated copper particles or copper oxide particles inside CO2. So their intention of this work was to fabricate the thin film actually, but they don't succeed very much. So before reading this paper, I succeeded to deposit copper film for the first time, and but at the same time, another guy in the United States succeeded to do that. So we succeeded simultaneously, independently. So since then, I was quite interested in depositing thin film. So my main research topic currently is thin film deposition in supercritical fluids. So there are two paths to fabricate thin film inside supercritical CO2. One is plating. This is a conventional electrochemical technique. And another is so-called chemical deposition. You can deposit not only metals, but also dielectrics. So for instance, for metals, you can deposit copper, nickel, lithium, rhodium, cobalt, etc. And dielectrics such as thioxide, strontium oxide, STO, ZNO, and so on. So the chemical deposition is more interesting, I think, than plating, because for plating you need electrolyte. It's a water solution, of course. So the water solution is dispersed in the inside CO2. So it is not a true CO2 related reaction. So chemical deposition is more basic and more interesting in terms of the application of CO2. So this table lists the advantages of using supercritical fluids or supercritical CO2 for micro and nano processing. I think you cannot see very much in this small slides. So I will try to explain the meaning of this table in the later part of this talk. So why I like to investigate thin film and why metal. Of course, thin film has vast industrial applications. For instance, for optical coatings, microelectronics, or anti-corrosion material, or smoothing or sliding material. And especially in terms of the basic chemical reaction understanding, preciseness is quite important. So thin films are homogeneous. If you deposit particles, for instance, you have different diameters of particles. So you need quite complicated analysis. But thin film is homogeneous, so it is easy to characterize. By just measuring the thickness, you can determine the growth rate easily. So it is quite simple. That means you can investigate the basic reactions or chemical processes more precisely. And metal is, I investigate metal as a kind of prototype of the material. So metal, one of the very interesting of the properties of metal is metals are always crystalline. So if you deposit oxide, it can be sometimes crystalline, sometimes amorphous, sometimes mixtured material. So for material synthesis point of view, it can be interesting. But for studying the properties of CO2 processing, it is sometimes makes things complicated, more complicated. So if you deposit metal, you can extract the academic point from the experimental results very easily. So this is my first work for, in which we succeeded to deposit copper. So for instance, we use this compound as a starting material. Then, of course, this is this copper is oxidized, so we need to reduce this complex by hydrogen, for instance. Then we were able to deposit copper. So one interesting point to use CO2, supercritical CO2, is it can make things easier. That means you can decrease deposition temperature, or you can decrease kinetic activation energy for reaction. So in this particular case, if you use this reaction thermally, the activation energy is 0.65 degrees EV, but in CO2 it decreases to 0.42 EV. So that means solvent capability of CO2 helped to cause this reaction. So, but some people said it's just a high pressure process. So what CO2 does, actually without solvent capability, you cannot achieve this reaction. So this reaction happened when the CO2 has a solvent capability. So if you do the same experiment under the same pressure using argon, for instance, you never obtain the copper. Or if you use only CO2 gas, you can never deposit copper. So using CO2 as a solvent is quite important to make chemical reactions easier. I've skipped this slide. So one of the interesting things of using CO2 is its diffusivity. So the gas has also, of course, has a better diffusivity, but gas is not very dense. That means the amount diffusing flux is quite small. So in the case of liquid has a higher density, so that means much more dense molecular concentration, but the diffusivity is low. Actually, diffusion flux is a product of diffusivity and density. So CO2 has a good point. So the diffusivity is medium and the density is medium, but medium times medium makes best result. So the CO2 is a supercritical CO2 is a ideal medium for transport material by diffusion. So that means you can deliver your raw materials deep inside small features, nano features. So that is why supercritical CO2 is an ideal medium for nano processing or microprocessing. So by utilizing such a penetration capability, for instance, in this case, this filter textile material was coated by copper, for instance. These fibers are metallized. Or you can deposit copper, or you can metallize copper on water-repelling PDMS. If you use usual plating, you cannot do this because PDMS repels water, so your electrolyte solution does not go deep inside. But in this case, CO2 is wettable to PDMS. So by utilizing such properties, we are succeeded to fabricate needle-like copper feature. And another application is electronic application, for instance, electronics application, for instance. In this case, these small, inside these small nozzles, copper was coated. By usual plating, water cannot penetrate all the inside part of these holes. So, but CO2 can do this. So the penetration capability or small field capability has no doubt. So this is the quite important data reported by another researcher. So in this case, the platinum was filled inside the carbon nanotube. So in terms of the penetration capability, there's no doubt. So this is very important point. So the CO2 diffused through porous material medium or inside the CO2 carbon nanotube. Then CO2 does its job. This I'll skip. And of course, my activity is not only limited to thin film deposition, and my student was also worked with particle formation. So in this case, the platinum ruthenium alloy was deposited for the first time. So you see the small particles were fabricated via CO2 on a kitchen block or a carbon nanotube supporting material. And oxide as well. In this case, zinc oxide metal particles were deposited, can be deposited. So you can deposit a lot of materials via supercritical processing. In this case, the iron oxide catalyst was fabricated. So this was used as a catalyst to grow carbon nanotube. So these are carbon nanotubes. Actually, the amount is quite small. But this was tried to control the places of the carbon nanotube growth. So the Fe oxide, iron oxide catalyst was filled inside the alumina nanotubes. Then the carbon nanotube grow each point of the embedded catalyst. And I will skip this one. I'll skip this one. Also this one. So my interest is to elucidate to clarify what the reaction mechanisms of, for instance, of metal inside CO2. So there has been quite limited number of papers about that. So we want to know what is the advantage of CO2 using the deposition medium and what is taking place on the surface. So this is a slide of Chairman Sudi Armanto's PhD thesis. I borrowed his slide and put it here. So the issues of supercritical fluid deposition reaction system is usually people use a batch reactor. So batch reactors are quite convenient and easy to achieve, but you can not control the starting material amount or pressure or temperature independently. So to investigate the reaction mechanisms, to control or to keep each parameter constant, that is quite important. So our strategy is to use a flow type reaction system. So the flow rate of CO2 or additional gas or precursor are controlled at the same value. So the temperature is also kept constant, and the pressure is also kept constant. So by that means we can precisely determine the effect of each parameters quite well. So how to do that? So the key point is to control the flow rate, of course, and to maintain the pressure. We have a specially designed back pressure regulator, and in this process we add a gaseous hydrogen, for instance, as a reducing reagent. So we need to add hydrogen at a constant flow rate. So we have developed a special mixing unit. Actually, this was US patented. So we can add low pressure hydrogen constantly to a high pressure CO2. This is quite an important point to investigate this special topic. So this is actually one of the important results of Dr. Sudi Armanto's PhD thesis. So he succeeded to extract he modeled the first reaction, and he succeeded to extract the some equilibrium constant as a function of temperature. So I don't go into the details of this result, but there is an effect of temperature, usual Arrhenius type temperature, but for instance, this K1 and K2 can be a function of solvent capability. So in some cases, CO2 helped to reaction occur, but in some cases, CO2 retards the reaction to occur because CO2 wants to keep precursor inside the medium. So it retards to the starting material to adsorb the surface. So it is quite important to control the CO2 medium solution capability quite much. Yes? Okay, I'm reaching almost end. And he also succeeded to deposit alloys. Alloys are quite important, especially in terms of the catalytic application. So he's investigated nickel platinum. So this is one of his important results. So this is the vertical axis deposition rate. The horizontal axis is the nickel component, nickel content of platinum nickel alloy. So you see the very small addition. This is nickel side. You see the very small addition of platinum increase growth rate very much. That means in this case it was revealed that the addition of platinum accelerates the reaction. So of course, the thin film deposition is a non-homogeneous reaction. So if we have the platinum in the system, the reaction can be accelerated. So he succeeded to show us the importance of the CO2 usage for accelerating the reaction. This is so. Finally, we are now strongly investigating oxidation chemistry inside the chemical supercritical fluids. This is the opposite path of deposition. So deposition is basically reduction chemistry, uses reduction chemistry. But for using oxidation chemistry, you can dissolve metals. So that is quite important, not only for microelectronics processing, but also for extract, for instance, the mining, city mining, or radiochemical activities. So it's a reverse reaction, so I will skip. So to do after developing some chemistry, we succeeded to etch, remove copper, also cobalt, and also platinum as well. So by using the supercritical CO2, we can extract, or we can collect precious metals from the city mining. Okay. So that is almost all my question. Sorry for using a lot of time. So supercritical CO2 is a safe and recyclable medium. It's affordable and versatile. So its application has actually long time history, but have not been explored yet. So in this talk, material synthesis in supercritical CO2 was presented. I believe new applications have not been found, so it is worthy to work further. Thank you very much for kind attention.
Thank you very much, Kondo Sensei. Please take a seat here.
Yes.
Before we continue to the discussion session to explore more about supercritical CO2, we will continue to the third speaker. So we will welcome Dr. Aisyah Jenny to the stage. Silakan, Mbak. Saya bacakan ya. Before presentation begin from the Dr. Jenny, I will read his curriculum vitae. Dr. Aisyah Jenny or Mbak Ais, yeah, we already known. He graduated from the Chemical Engineering, Gajah Mada University, and she has a double degree master from the Rijksuniversiteit Groningen, yeah. Groningen and also ITB. And he finished a PhD degree from the University of South Australia, Adelaide. He has many working experiences and also has many awards, such as ASN Inspiratif Kedeputian IPT, LIPI, ya. Kemudian Satya Karya 10 tahun, kemudian Best Paper Award, and also Best Researcher, third place at the Research Center for Chemistry. Recognition for Thomson Reuters Index, Research Center for Chemistry, and I think you also laureate UNESCO Award. Okay, with his excellence record, please welcome Dr. Aisyah Jenny.
Can I just go down?
Silakan.
Do you have? Oh, it's over there.
Kelihatan di sini aja di depan.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I think I'll just stand here because it's so I won't be behind anybody who's sitting over there. Okay. Thank you for the kind introduction, Mr. Ronnie. I'd like to also welcome Sensei to our facility, the research facility. Yeah, as Mr. Ronnie has said, my name is Siti Nurul Aisyah Jenny. You can call me Ais. I'm from the Research Center of Chemistry, the National Research and Innovation Agency, BRIN. I'm also affiliated with the BRIN and ITB Center for Collaborative Research on Biosensors and Biodevices. This morning talk would be, I'm trying to focus so everybody can relate here. From mine to nanobiosensors, geothermal silica-based nanoparticles as sustainable biosensing platforms. So I will be covering a range of topics, hopefully not too long. If too long, then Mr. Ronnie can cut me anytime. Yeah. So this is the outline of my talk. I'll be introducing about our research center. And then a brief introduction of what nanobiosensors are and why nanotechnology is needed, and how, according to the ISAC theme, how the advanced chemistry breakthrough can reach through nanotechnology and nanobiosensors, covering synthesis and surface modification for a bit. And then I will be just giving an overview of how nanobiosensors based on porous silicon are made and are applied, and then I will be giving much more related topic on geothermal-based mesoporous nanosilica as biosensing platforms, and then a conclusion afterwards. So here's a brief introduction of our research center for those who don't know, and for the participants also online and offline. So we are located here in Serpong. This is just a bit outside of Jakarta. We have two main buildings. Yes, it is our building, Ms. Bumeli. And this is our head, Dr. Yeni Meliana. We have 8 research groups. Surface chemistry and nanoparticles, where I'm in, is headed by Dr. Francisca. I believe she was here. And then Biochemistry and Fine Chemicals Research Group led by Dr. Ronnie Mariana. The Analytical Chemistry Research Group by Mr. Andreas. Catalysis Research Group by Dr. Kiki Sembiring. She's way back there. nutraceuticals and organic chemistry by Dr. Hakiki Melani, thermochemistry by Dr. Adit Adep, surfactants and macromolecular chemistry by Dr. Wita, and the last one, chemical process engineering research group by Dr. Robert Wijaya. We have many collaborators, both overseas and also within Indonesia, both research institutes, academics, universities, and also industries. So we're open to many collaborations, new collaborations from here in the participants or maybe from your associates. So in terms of the research group that I belong in, I'm from the Surface Chemistry and Nanoparticles Research Group, so we focus on the development, characterization, and interface interaction of inorganic nanomaterials as advanced nanoparticles, optical sensors, biosensors, platforms, and also imaging probes. So here has been summarized nicely by our leader, Dr. Francisca. There's 4 main topics: optical detection. Usually we use fluorescence-based nanomaterials, visual detections usually using gold nanoparticles, electrochemical detection using gold nanoparticles as well as zinc oxide or graphene. Imaging is one of the new members here is developing one with polyoxometallate, yeah? Yeah. So this is the focus that we're working on in our research group. For the last 5 years, we've published 30 international journals, mostly in reputable journals, from advanced functional materials to Dalton transactions, and we have collaborators from inside Indonesia as well as overseas. So what is a biosensor? Biosensor is a device which is capable of providing selective quantitative or semi-quantitative analytical information, and it gives information for us through electrical, chemical, optical signals using selective biochemical reactions mediated by isolated enzymes, aminosystems, tissues, organelles, or whole cells to detect chemical compounds. So in short, what a biosensor does is give us information of a change in the analyte or the biorecognition element that we want to detect. Now, biosensor is applied in numerous fields here, from monitoring in biochemical processing, in homeland security, environmental monitoring, food technology, but the most likely one is in biomedical, biotechnological applications. So, until 2026, it is believed that the biosensor industry will reach investment around 15.13 billion USD, but I think this number has to be corrected because of the COVID. The COVID has increased the research on biosensors significantly, so now it's probably higher than this 15.13 billion. It's probably more than 20 billion. You can get a multi-layer of porosilicon. Now this special structure is called the porosilicon microcavity, and what a microcavity does is it has a special optical properties. When you incorporate a certain kind of dye or a certain kind of fluorophore or luminescent material, then it will enhance the intensity of the luminescent material. Here we applied the europium complex. So europium complex has high luminescence or high photoluminescence, but not too high because we cannot detect yet inside a solution or inside a buffer state. So that's why we need to incorporate that inside the porosilicon. Here we use the click chemistry. Click chemistry, maybe if all of you here are chemists, you know that the click chemistry won the Nobel Prize this year because there's a modification of the click chemistry without a copper catalyst. But here we still use a copper catalyst for the click chemistry to conjugate
the fluorophore here, europium complex, to the surface. So once the microcavity already consists of the fluorophore, you can see that the intensity increases. Now this is good for biosensing applications, especially for optical applications where you can get a high signal only by using a small amount of chemical. So we made several kinds of porous silicon. This is my work during my PhD, and I think Dr. Francisca also did some of her work here, where we attached biomolecules on the surface to detect, here we detect enzymes. Here's from Dr. Francisca's work. She detected enzymes as well for wound marker, and this produced a thin film that has high sensitivity and selectivity. Also the signal to noise ratio is pretty high, and we can incorporate it nicely because it already has a functional group on the surface. So we are sure that the biomolecule is conjugated chemically on the surface, not just physisorbed or just laying on top of the surface. It is properly attached on the surface. Here are just some examples of what we've done with the porous silicon. Here we detected biomolecule streptafidin, which is already labeled with a europium complex. Here we detected a reactive oxygen species, which is one of the biomarkers for cancer. We had an LOD, or the limit of detection for this type of detection systems, until 3.7 times 10 to the minus 8 molars, and the response times was pretty quick. It was within 5 minutes. The next one is when we detected enzyme or lactate dehydrogenase, which is one of the biomarkers in cancer or lung cancer as well. Here we also had a low limit of detection of 0.08 units per mil, which is in the linear range of 0.16 to 6.5 units per mil, covering the range from normal to damaged tissues or to cancer tissues. So it's quite sensitive, the platforms that we have already produced. Now on to the work that we're doing here in the Research Center of Chemistry, where we still used silica-based nanomaterials or nanostructures, but we use the ones that the sources is from natural or from natural minerals. Here we have a collaboration with the Mineral Processing Group in Gadjah Mada University in Department of Chemical Engineering. Where they provide us with geothermal silica, also ablated cement, and also geopolymers and diatoms. But our work now is still with the geothermal silica. And what is geothermal silica? Now, this is a nice presentation that I borrowed from Pertamina Geothermal Energy. So geothermal silica is basically precipitate of silica that happens in the pipes during the production of geothermal energy into electricity. So here's the scheme, just the scheme. I just want to show you that the yellow circle here is where the geothermal silica precipitates. So it blocks the pipes. And when it blocks the pipes, the productivity of the electricity just drops to 30% to 50%. And this happens over 10 months. So we need to clear this pipe out of the silica, because silica scaling happens rapidly. The yellow ones is the silica carried over the steam. The red circle is the silica scaling that's happened inside the pipes. So this is another presentation I borrowed from our collaborators in Gadjah Mada. So this is what happens. The silica scaling happens in 6 months. And from their research, From their research, they have been able to extract this and make it into an amorphous silica, which is what we needed. We needed amorphous silica to make our silica nanoparticles. So that's what we use. And then we make this amorphous silica. We added base onto it into natrium silicate. Natrium silicate using the sol gel method. We catalyze it with acid, and then it becomes nanoparticles. A nice gel, and then we dry it, and then it becomes nanoparticles. So a quick view on this. So we already characterized it. The particle size is 10 to 30 nanometers, average particle size 20 nanometers. It's mesopores. It has the surface functionality, which is crucial for our application. And the sol gel method is simple. It doesn't involve any organic solvent. It doesn't involve extreme temperature or pressure, and it's also cost effective. The process here is only overnight process, so it's a very simple process compared to the electrochemical etching one. Here, because we already know that it's mesopores, we incorporated the dye. Here we choose rhodamine dye. We incorporated inside it. We analyzed the surface functionality and as well as the luminescence properties, and we applied it for the detection of bacteria as a whole cell. So it's not just the part of the bacteria, but the bacteria as a whole cell. Here's just the measurement of the intensity. Now, this is what happens when we apply our nanoparticles, our fluorescent nanoparticles. When the bacteria is present, then the intensity drops. Now that's where the detection happens. So we calculated, and we had a rapid response time of 15 minutes, a linear range of 10 to 5 CFU per mil with an LOD of 8 CFU per mil, which is quite low. And it showed selectivity only to live E. coli bacteria. We weren't satisfied with the selectivity here because it still shows it's not very significant toward the E. coli bacteria, so we improved our process where we modified our nanoparticle with an antibody through the silanization reaction. And here we have an antibody on the surface. When we also measured the IR and as well as the luminescence properties. And here we applied it for the detection of bacteria again. The LOD is 1.6 to 10 times 2 CFU per mil, and it's highly selective towards E. coli. As you can see, with an E. coli, it shows a significant drop, where to other bacteria, it doesn't. Another one is what we use with our silica nanoparticles, the fluorescent ones for the detection of small proteins, which is here the antibody. We use a hydrosylation reaction where we reacted with EDC, and then we coupled it with NHS, and then we reacted with the primary amine group of the antibody on the surface, and we have a silica and antibody conjugation nicely like this. So we used it for detection. This is just an image of the same image after detection, and as you can see, the antibody or the proteins is covering the whole silica nanoparticle. We applied it in the detection using a direct ELISA method. Maybe most of you are familiar with what a linked assay, where we covered the wells with anti-antibody, and then we added our silica that is already modified with the recognition element, and then we calculated the fluorescence intensity. The incubation time is 60 minutes with a linear range of 10 times minus 2, 10 to the power of minus 2 to 10 to the power of minus 5 micrograms per mil. This is what we wanted to construct with our silica nanoparticles in detecting antibody and the COVID antibody. So we're still optimizing on this one. Another one is where we detect the antigen, because now most of you wanted to, not the antibody of COVID, but the antigen of COVID, and we also modified the surface with a biorecognition element, which is the ACE2, which is a certain kind of enzyme that can capture the antigen of COVID-19. Now, we designed this not only fluorescent, but also magnetic here. So this is actually a magnetic stirrer with our nanoparticles. And when we analyze the magnetic properties, it shows soft ferromagnetic properties. As you can see, this is actually a video, but I didn't put the video on here. But what you know, this is a solution containing of our fluorescent magnetic nanoparticles, where it's already conjugated with ACE2. Once the COVID sample is put inside the microtubes, then it's pulled with a magnetic field, and you can have a nice separation here where it enhances the specificity and also the selectivity of the detection system. And then you measure it with fluorescence spectrometer. So here we had an LOD of 0.18 femtograms per mil, which is quite good. Response time 30 minutes, 2 minutes. This is a work from our PhD students where we start to use our fluorescent magnetic nanoparticles to detect DNA. This is the DNA of bacteria. So what we did is we modified our fluorescent magnetic silica nanoparticles with primers of DNA, and then it can capture the DNA of antibody-resistant and antibiotic-resistant bacteria, which is the MRSA, or the methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus. It already showed a promising result here. So this is still being done, and with our PhD student in Siegen University. So in a nutshell, what we did with geothermal-based silica nanoparticles, we started this project in 2017 with our team here in Research Center of Chemistry. We extended our collaboration as well with Gajah Mada University. And then we developed the fluorescent silica nanoparticles. We also developed that for bacteria and also small proteins. Last year, we tried to enhance the silica nanoparticles with magnetic and also fluorescent properties. And this year, we also changed the fluorescent dye. We incorporated such as quantum dots, as well as other types of inorganic dyes inside the silica nanoparticles for other detections. But because we already had a promising result with the detection of DNA, we tried other applications. So these are the applications and the collaborations that we have using geothermal-based silica nanoparticles is for the detection of antibiotic-resistant bacteria, where we work together with Siegen University and also Koch University. Another one that we're initiating is for the detection of halal authentication in food, where we work together with the Faculty of Animal Science in Gajah Mada University, and also for emerging diseases detection, where we work with ITB, and that includes COVID-19, malaria, and dengue for that detection. Another one that we're excited with our new project is the establishment of our nanosilica pilot plant, where we are in collaboration with Gajah Mada University. So from the start, from the beginning, we have already produced 2 patents regarding the production of silica nanoparticles, and that patent is now being used to establish nanosilica pilot plant with collaboration PT Geodepa in Dieng. So I think that's the summary. So silica-based nanomaterials is good to be used. Future challenges. It's not only in biomedical or food safety applications, but we're also looking forward to non-medical applications, because with the silica, especially if we could use a technique using supercritic, then maybe we can use it as a super absorbent in construction applications, solid catalysts, and also in the environment. And there still needs study for optimization on stability, reproducibility, and reusability. So it's still an ongoing thing to be studied, but it's still exciting to be studied further. So I'd like to thank all the collaborators, but I mostly like to thank the students that are involved here, because we have many students. Most of them are also already graduated, but these are the ones that are still hanging on with me until now. Our PhD students, master students, and also bachelor students. So thank you, and sorry for taking your time. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ais, for the very interesting and comprehensive explanation about the biosensor. Ladies and gentlemen, Bapak Ibu sekalian, now we entering the discussion session. It will be both topic to the Professor Kondo and also Dr. Ais. The topic is regarding supercritical CO2 and also biosensor. The first session will be 3 questions from the floor or from the Zoom online. Please mention your name and state the institution or affiliation. I'll give the first question. Oh, okay. Sense. Oh, sense. Okay, sense one question.
Yeah, it was very interesting topic. I like your work very much. My question is, there have been many numerous number of biosensor work, even those topics. So I want to know your opinion. How to become the major player of this world. I mean, yeah, maybe your material have some advantage, but some disadvantages, and other researchers topic as well. So what is the most important part to be industrialized in this area?
Industrial? Yes. Okay. Okay, good question. For me itself, for developing biosensors, I know in lab scale level, so there's numerous things that we have to understand. For us to be a major player, I don't think that's my, well, we want to be a major player, but we have to understand of our system first before we compare how our biosensor works to other groups or other research groups that's developing biosensors as well. I know this is a really hot topic right now, biosensing systems. But in the lab scale, yes, we have to understand. And like I mentioned before, it involves many multidiscipline fields. So we have to understand their perspective as well, because right now my challenge is, because I only know from the chemical perspective and the material science perspective, to make that incorporate that into some kind of device, I need to work with somebody else, and to have their opinion and perspective on how that will be a device, that's another thing. Another thing is, in the industrial level, because biosensors are something that is quick and easy and everybody can be used, everybody can use, it's mostly from the regulation from each country. And not every country is open to some kind of biosensors like that. I've read that the development of pregnancy test also had its shortcomings, also had its difficulties in giving it to the society, because this is what happens with biosensors. What we want is to make something that is easily used by everybody, not only medical people, not only doctors, nurses, everybody can use. And I repeat it over and over again. The example is pregnancy test. Everybody can use that. But to get that into the market, to get that into the consumer, it's a hard thing to do.
I understand. Sorry
Something
for breaking.
No. But that's the truth, because that's the discussion that we had every time we have the biosensor
besides
symposium.
the regulation is quite difficult to deal with for us. So what about the cost? What is the cost issue, or sensitivity issue, or maybe can be lifetime, shelf time, and shelf time, or can be the equipment.
Yes.
So if you need to use a special equipment for your test, your sensor cannot be used. So it should be versatile. So if you need a special test equipment for your sensor or for your liquid, it is not useful very much. So is there any standard test equipment for this kind of biosensors? Standard test equipment.
Standard testing equipment.
Test equipment.
From my knowledge, I don't know. I don't know if there's any standard. Well, is it the limit detection that has to be, or the equipment that has to be standardized? What do you mean by standard equipment?
Standard equipment means, for instance, you have maybe liquid chromatograph in your laboratory. Okay, so the for one liquid chromatograph equipment, you can use maybe columns for different companies. So if your biosensor should have a unique test equipment. So each equipment, I think, in my opinion, one equipment can use different sensors, for instance. So it is very important part to distribute to people, I think.
I think it depends on what you want to detect.
Yes.
Each biosensor is specific.
Specific.
In this case, if we want to take it, for example, the COVID test, if we want to develop something, a biosensor for COVID, then we have to use the gold standard, which is the PCR.
The equipment is quite expensive.
Yeah.
But the sensor should be very cheap.
Yeah.
So
no, I mean
the controversy.
Yeah, I mean the performance. At least it could be compared to, or at least the same as PCR.
Okay. Maybe this is a interesting discussion, yeah. Maybe later we will continue, but we will give opportunities to other questioner. Maybe is there any question here from the floor? Oh, okay. Silakan Bu Kapus.
Mana kamera? Oh, nggak apa-apa. Cek. Thank you to both speaker, Professor Echi Kondo and Dr. Ais. It's really interesting presentation, and what is new knowledge for me. I have a question to Professor Kondo, because about the supercritical solvent solubility. Yeah, this is the information is very interesting for me, because I work in the area of nanoemulsion. So my question, can we apply for this nanodispersion for the solid thing, for example, for emulsion, just like in my area? That's the question. Thank you.
You asking, is it possible to make emulsion in supercritical CO2?
Yeah, using the solubility, using the supercritical with the carbon dioxide. We apply to make like a nanoemulsion in liquid.
Yes.
In liquid phase.
Yes, it is possible. You can use supercritical CO2 as a replacement of usual solvents. So almost all kind of processing that has been realized in usual solvent chemistry, it is possible. So emulsion or anti-emulsion, for instance, and so on, you can use. Is that my answer, correct answer?
Yeah. So in the future, maybe I will. In the future, I will learn to you, Professor, how to apply this, because you say is a lot of new novelty further that we need to explore about this theoretical. So maybe that make me curious about the how to apply. Thank you, Professor Eiichi Konda. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Meli. The third question has already from the Zoom online to Dr. Ais. The question from Miss Bidara Pidatika. The question is, although you aim for a certain type of chemistry, for example, click chemistry, carbodeimide chemistry, and so on, the biorecognition ligand can also possibly attach to the silica surface through only van der Waals, all physical interaction. How did you confirm or validate the type of interaction between the biorecognition ligand and the silica surface? How did you confirm interaction between the biorecognition ligand?
The type of the interaction. Okay, where's the camera? Hi, Pipit. She's asking. Okay, confirming the type of interaction, you can use simple FTIR, you can use IR microscopy, you can use XPS spectroscopy. But there's sometimes in these kinds of reactions or chemical conjugations that you have distinctive functional groups that has a special peak. For example, if you use the carboxylic acid reaction or you use the carbodeimide reaction, then it provides the amide 1 and amide 2 peaks in the FTIR, which is specifically in the 15,000 or 14,000 wave number. So that's a distinctive peak before and after reaction. So that's how you confirm whether your chemical conjugation has happened or not. And to negate that there's any absorption, physisorption or van der Waals interaction, that's where you have to take carefully of how you modify your nanoparticles or your surfaces. Usually washing steps is crucial in these kinds of modifications. So you wash it 3 to 4 times with solutions just to make sure that the unreacted crosslinkers or unreacted recognition elements aren't on your surface anymore. So that's why, and usually what I do is I use different kinds of solvents. First you use the organic ones and then you use DI water and then you use a buffer. So you make sure that none of the biorecognition elements or the crosslinkers is not chemically attached on the surface. That's what I would do. Or probably you can use other types of spectroscopy like Raman as well. So there's many references on those kinds of chemical conjugations and when you want to make sure that chemical conjugation has happened. I think that's my answer. Hopefully answers the question.
Thank you, Dr. Ais. And I will give opportunity for the last question. Oh, okay. Professor Ani, please.
Thank you. Yes, Sensei Kondo Sensei, I'm very glad to see you in here. And very interesting presentation actually. Yeah, it's very nice and I'm very curious about your experiment with your team. Actually, me and my team also work in the supercritical fluid extraction actually. So a little bit different with your side. My first question is, did you use co-solvent in your experiment? And then which one? Co-solvent?
Co-solvent, yes,
yep.
We do. Yes.
And how about the result of the co-solvent when you use it? Is it very helpful or something? This is the first question.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe I continue with the second question.
Yes,
so this maybe it's very interesting for us. We all want to know about the current status of the supercritical fruit extraction technology, especially in Japan. Thank you.
I see. Okay. About the co-solvent, of course, the process highly depends on the kind of co-solvent. So in the case of Sudi, he used the acetone, I think. Yes, but acetone, yes. Acetone. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. In some cases, we use ethanol or methanol
Yeah.
or other co-solvents like the hexane. So in terms of the material synthesis, co-solvent is not very crucial. Like in case the extraction,
okay,
because more than solubility, the chemical kinetics or starting material, raw material, precursors are more important to. So they should be properly chosen.
Okay.
But co-solvent is also plays some roles, but not very much crucial. Not very much crucial. We use the co-solvent to control the solubility of CO2, of course. But in terms of the role of the co-solvent to the chemistry, I don't think it is quite crucial. About the activities in Japan, there is still big community in the Society of Chemical Engineering. They have a special how do I say, symposium or a section of supercritical CO2. So they deal with a lot of kind of works like extraction.
Extraction maybe.
Extraction is maybe more food science, for instance. But, chemical synthesis, for instance, or especially they like to use supercritical water. Water is much simpler, like the case of the onsen, hot spring case. And not only material synthesis, but also they are investigating the physical-chemical properties of solvent, for instance, supercritical CO2 or other material solvent capability. So, yes. There is a big community.
Okay.
Yes, material synthesis is also a big part of that community. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Sensei.
Thank you, Prof. Ani. Thank you, Kondo Sensei. Ladies and gentlemen, finally, we come to the end of this parallel session. We have discussed about, firstly, catalyst development at PT Pertamina, and then secondly about supercritical CO2, and the last one about biosensor. We hope that this new information, new knowledge will beneficial for us. And in the future, we can make a collaboration among us. And I would like to thank again to all the invited speaker, Kondo Sensei, Dr. Ais, and also Mr. Adam from Pertamina. Let's give a big applause for the all invited speaker. Thank you very much, and I'll give back the time to the Dr. Reza. Dr. Reza, please.
Thank you, Mr. Roni. Thank you, Thank you very much, Professor Eiichi Kondo, Dr. Aisyah Jenny, and Mr. Adam for giving us informative session in the plenary session 1. And thank you for participants that joined this plenary session. Now, from Zoom meeting session, we will like to give a certificate to Mr. Adam, who represented Professor Okimuraza, giving us very interesting, informative knowledge this morning. Maybe the organizing committee can give a short Zoom meeting online session. Okay, thank you, Mr. Adam, for joining us today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, and all distinguished participants, we may have all invited speaker, Professor Eiichi Kondo and Dr. Aisyah Jenny, to come to the in front of the stage. And the honor of us to invite the head of Research Center for Chemistry BRIN, Dr. Yeni Meliana, Master of Science, and the chairman of this conference, Mr. Sudiarmanto, PhD, to give placard and certificate to the all invited speaker who come on site today. Thank you very much, Professor Eiichi Kondo, Dr. Aisyah Jenny, and our head of Research Center for Chemistry, Dr. Yeni Meliana, and Mr. Sudiarmanto, PhD. Now, ladies and gentlemen, after this session, we will have a break time for lunch until 1 p.m. The coupon of lunch and coffee break are available at the registration area. Please take the coupon freely. After break time, we will continue the parallel session at 1 p.m. until 3 p.m. And the second parallel session will be start from 3:15 p.m. until 5:30 p.m. Please join the symposium 10 minutes before the schedule of parallel session for registration matters. For on-site participants, I would like to inform you, please collect your presentation file to the registration committee outside this room. We will wait until 12:30 p.m. And for the online participants, all of you can freely choose the breakout room in Zoom meeting. The parallel session, the first and the second parallel session will divide it into 4 rooms. And all of the participants that join us today will present on site. So the first parallel session with the topic of parallel design and chemical engineering, analytical chemistry. In the first parallel session will moderate by Dr. Shifa Fauzia, and the second room will moderate And the second parallel will moderate by Mrs. Dilani Putri Ramadhani Tias, Master of Science. And this room will be in this room, the room number 1001. For the second room with the topic of catalysis and catalysis, the first session will moderate by Dr. Muhnuh Khairu Wihadi, Master of the Science, and the second parallel session will moderate by Dr. Kiki Sembiring. The second room is at room number 2001. It is on the second floor. The third room will discuss related to organic and natural product chemistry. The first parallel session will moderate by Mrs. Melati Septiani, and the second parallel session will moderate by Dr. M. Eka Prasetya. The third room is the room number 2005. It is also in the second floor. The last room with the topic related to the surface chemistry and nanoparticle, the first parallel session will moderate by Dr. Sunteo Konstan Lotebulon Duru, Master of Science, and the second parallel session will moderate by Dr. Latifa Hauli. And this room will be held at room number 2007. It is also in the second floor. Please join us 10 minutes before parallel session schedule. Ladies and gentlemen, there is some information about workshop that held after this symposium on November 24, 2022 on Thursday at 452 Building KST BJ Habibie, or Home Base of Research Center for Chemistry. This workshop is on site. You can join freely and it is open for public. So all participants or not participants, researcher, research assistant, and student can join this workshop freely. But you have to fulfill the registration form in the link tree of ISAC 2022. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I hope all the participants can join each room until the end of this day. And thank you for joining us. Enjoy your conference. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Research is our strength to overcome any limitations. Innovation is the guiding vision that drives us towards the future. We cannot face this alone. We must stand together to make our vision a reality. Growing strong upon the land of Nusantara, a magical place filled with miracle and wonder. A land spanning 2 continents and 2 oceans, rich in culture and biodiversity. We and Indonesia are the necessary combination to realize the grand visions of